Mr. Right, but them guys could be. Ready to check it out.
Because I don't see Josh. Josh in there?
Not
Here? Yeah. No, I didn't. See.
Speed driving.
Josh is.
We are live.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the June 25th Commissioners Meeting, joining the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June the 11th.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from the June 11th meeting.
My second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion on accounts payable vouchers.
I make a motion, we approve the accounts payable vouchers.
I second that.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
And payroll docket.
I'll make a motion, we approve the payroll docket estimated.
I second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Miss Patty, you have the floor.
I'm Patty Jackson with the Southeastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, and I'm here this evening in regards to the Telegraph Hill Rikers Ridge Sewer Project that was recently awarded $750,000 from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs Community Development Block Grant Program. It's my understanding that the county attorney, Pat McGrath, has reviewed the subrecipient agreement that I brought at the last meeting, and he has signed it and reviewed it. And I'm here to request that the president, Mr. Little, sign the subrecipient agreement for the project so that we can be moving forward towards construction.
Okay.
I guess I make a motion, we approve the agreement for the
Whatever she said.
CDBG funded projects from Okra. After review by our attorney.
I second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Uh,
We've got that right
I
here.
think I put Xerxes in there as well and a few other.
and all Patty's hard work.
Yeah.
There. And while I'm here this evening, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on a couple other projects that we have going on in Jefferson County. So we are working with Rikers Ridge Water Company on a new water tower project. Recently, we mailed out income surveys for this project to a random selection of households in the Rikers Ridge Water Service area. Also, we're working with the Jefferson County 4-H Fairground Agricultural Association on a community center improvement project at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. We have recently mailed out an income survey for that project also. I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention in case you had anybody call with questions about it. They were mailed out, one was mailed out last week, the other was mailed out the week before. I'm starting to get responses in. These projects, they both are wanting to try to get funds from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, the Community Development Block Grant Program. And in order for them to be able to be in contention for those, we have to complete an income survey to see if they will qualify for them. So if anyone receives an income survey, please take the time to fill it out. We greatly appreciate your cooperation. And if you have any questions in regards to the survey, you can reach out to me at our office at 812-689-5505. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we did get those out and we're slowly working towards that. So, okay. Any questions at all?
That would have documentation where it was coming from though, right?
Say that again.
Documentation where it was coming from,
In the
because
letter.
I've had some people were
Yeah,
curious
yeah.
about it.
We put a cover letter with it, and then at the top of the income survey, it says Jefferson County in cooperation with the Jefferson County 4-H Agriculture Association. So it says it in both places, which, just to clarify, the project would benefit the 4-H fairgrounds and the Rikers Ridge Water. Jefferson County has to be the applicant for them. They cannot apply directly to Okra for these funds. Jefferson County has to be the catalyst for that to happen. So that's why you guys are brought into the middle of it.
Okay, that's
Just
what I
like with
thought.
the
Just
deputy
like with the
fire
right, yes,
and the Rikers.
Rikers
Hold on.
sewer, you guys were the applicant for that
Right.
project also, yeah. Any other questions or anything?
That's all I had.
All right,
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
No problem.
Okay. Next up, we have Mr. Chandler. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Before I get started, I hope you will indulge me in throwing some praise on Sarah Alexander here. I got an email from her and the first thing was, sorry for the delay. And I swear to you, I was sitting there on my laptop and I said out loud to an empty room, what delay? So I can't imagine how fast she normally works if that was the delay in her response. So I just wanted to congratulate her on that. I emailed this to you guys, all three of you, earlier today. And I just wanted to read it into the record, So, it is a letter regarding a one-year moratorium on new data center projects. So here we go. Dear Commissioners, I am writing and now speaking to respectfully request that the county commissioners institute a temporary moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of all new data center development applications for a period of at least 1 year. By enacting this temporary safeguard, our county would align itself with other proactive Indiana communities, including Dearborn, Fulton, and Madison counties that have established similar strategic pauses over the past year. This request is not born out of an opposition to technological infrastructure, but represents a measured, responsible governance strategy to ensure our local framework is fully equipped to manage hyperscale, industrial, and technological growth. A 12-month moratorium will grant our local planning commission and zoning authorities the vital time necessary to study, review, and update our county's comprehensive plan and land use ordinances. Data center projects introduce unique and unprecedented challenges to rural and developing landscapes, particularly concerning water utilization, high electrical grid demand, and persistent low-frequency cooling noise. Similarly, the promise of a net growth in jobs is not supported by data found in other comparable situations. So this would allow us to build in clear and concise rules regarding taxes, employment, and utilities. It would also allow us to create contingencies if these promises are not kept, which I think is perhaps the most important part of this. Implementing a structured pause ensures we can establish clear, proactive regulatory standards such as specialized zoning overlays, verified utility capacity guarantees, and built-in guarantees of tax payments and employment numbers before any further irreversible projects are approved. This time could also be used to amend the Unified Development Ordinance to properly define and account for data centers for future projects. It currently does not. I strongly urge each commissioner to support implementing this temporary moratorium to safeguard our community's natural resources, infrastructure, and agricultural heritage while planning for a sustainable and prosperous future. Such a decision on your part would demonstrate unwavering commitment to economic development, as well as the well-being of local residents. I look forward to participating in upcoming public discussion on this matter and welcome the opportunity to support the county's effort toward structured, responsible growth. Thank you.
Okay. John or Jason, you wanna go?
Oh,
You're not gonna throw him under the bus tonight?
it's all right.
Too much.
Been ran over by it all week. Don't have much tonight, guys. Yeah,
You said you were run over by.
yeah, I ran over by
Yeah,
it a
like-
couple times this week,
Lightweight.
at least I feel like it. Which I just wanna give a huge shout out to Matt with EMA. Homeland Security coming down, helping us out. Of course, Robert and fire, all the volunteer firemen out there, Kent, all them. Sheriff's Department, they just went above and beyond out there for us this week, helping us through a little wind, you know, so, yeah. But extreme amounts of damage, it literally goes from Deputy all the way down Thomas Hill and across, it's everywhere, there was trees everywhere, power lines everywhere. We caught Duke extremely quick the first day, and our hands were tied, we got several phone calls. Why haven't you cleared my road? Well, we're not gonna touch a power line in a tree, it's just where it's at. Or even some of the MetroNet lines, we won't do either, cause, yeah, we get plenty of bills from them as it is. But, right now, all the roads are open, I'm not sure, John, I don't even know the count right now, but there's several roads that we still gotta push brush back away from. The road is open, but we just need to push brush back. Several subdivisions, we've had crews out pulling debris out of the subdivisions and hauling that off, which the fairgrounds was gracious enough to give us a spot to place some of that. It's a massive pile, it's massive. We're hoping and praying, I guess, that we're gonna have some luck with a company to come in and grind it for mulch. So if that happens, we'd be forever grateful for that, cause there's just debris everywhere. We got a couple more subdivisions to go through and we're gonna make a final sweep on that, you know. Probably next week, just go through, and if it's in the right of way and we can reach it, we'll take it, but past that, we're not gonna clean up anybody's yard. Or pull it off a house or anything like that, just what we can reach from our right of way in the road, so. But other than that, it's been a lot of cleanup, but of course, we were still combating with everything before that, so. And then, Doe Run is officially open, it's rough still, we know this, we gotta have some traffic. Help compact that a little bit and trying to get it open for 4th of July and all the holiday traffic, trying to keep things flowing a little bit, I know. Want to get that done, it is a little rough, but not horrible, it looks really good. Romero should be. I believe Monday morning, they're gonna be going to Little Rest Farm Road to finish Little Rest Farm out. And get that all buttoned up paving. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot more. Just,
I don't know that company that's like at the 65 exit for Austin, that
that's the
multi.
one I'm
Was
talking
that your one? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They got
I have his
miles.
name, but
Yeah,
I was trying to remember his name, but I could not.
I always drive by and see the new landscape, the mountains that are forming there.
Yeah, he's supposed to, I'm hoping he'll call me back here first of next week. But with the 4-H fair coming up, we don't want a giant grinder over there running, you know, when the kid's got an animal in their hand and take a little ride, so. But other than that, that's about all I've got, so. Extremely busy. If you've called and we haven't answered, or I haven't called you back, we haven't had phones since last Thursday, today was the first day. Trying to get back with everybody, I'm sorry, so. But
I know you had a mess on Orchardine Road too. That looked like a war zone.
yeah,
But like
that
you-
was probably not our worst one. 1350 was probably our worst, where the house got extreme amounts of damage and everything. We had a little confrontation with some fiber people trying to put fiber in, like trying to do that too, so I was gracious with the sheriff. So. But other than that, everything seems to be working smoothly, you know, everybody's, and all the volunteers that we've had just blow my mind. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I got.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
You're sharing your pies, huh? No, from John.
Not tonight.
Can I ask a question? It might be really early yet, but is there an estimate on the dollar amount of damage we experienced?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Several zeros.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question? A lot of people get confused about the siren, about, severe thunderstorm warning, tornado watch, and it's the same siren. Is there any way that that can be different, that so people won't have as much anxiety about storms when they get here?
You're up, Matt.
Yeah, you wanna go?
So the sirens belong to the city, the ones that you hear for their Hanover. And, so they're in charge of the policy for that. They just executed it up here to dispatch, so, I would call it, so if you don't know how that works. There are two tones, we get a thunderstorm warning and a tornado warning.
They are different. They are
It's two different tones,
Okay,
but the speaker spins around.
okay.
So I don't know how in the world you can tell the difference between two tones when the speakers spin on you. And in my mind, I think it should be like the air raid sign. You hear that thing go off and you better get in cover or you're gonna die. So, we've had discussion and I think they're open to make some changes. I think it's just difficult to get people's sound and make a choice.
Thank you.
Matt, you're up.
Keep going.
Keep going.
I don't, is it? Okay. Maybe. Maybe not. So wish it was much more techy one. I need Brandon here. It's. So. Try to. Can you turn the TV on?
No.
No?
The remote control.
Way down there.
I set it down there and.
You get popcorn?
I got some popping, but okay, probably currently burning.
Now, like, maybe make a buzz.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is not gonna cooperate, so. So I was gonna show you some pictures. I should have got here a little earlier, but time about wow. So, just to run over some quick statistics for you. The tornado came in about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I will say also, and mirror what Jason has to say, is we were out and ready to roll. We weren't laying in bed waiting for this thing to show up. We knew it was coming and we were ready to go. And we didn't have to wait for the tornadoes to hit the ground, start causing damage and all in business. We're out there working. And you talk about a bunch of brave and gutsy guys to get out of bed and take off and be ready for it while it's currently going on. Power lines flying all over the place, tree limbs down, all that stuff, trying to even figure out what trees they could cut to open roads for emergency routes, all that bit. 23-mile tornado track. I think they were just right at 300 assessments that we did on structures. Inside of that 23 miles, we identified a 55.5 mile square mile damaged track with the help of the Weather Service. There's 4,832 structures inside of that 55.5 miles that needed to be addressed. They needed to be looked at and made sure that nobody was inside there, all that bit. So, so these guys have worked their tails off, and couple of just kind of odd stories. It just kind of grabs my attention. There's a lady who just retired and moved down here after 40 years of working in Indianapolis. She bought a house and a tree fell over, grabbed some power lines, pulled that down, caused a spark, and the house caught on fire, burned up everything she has. And she had a pair of pants on and a shirt and some shoes, and that's what she made it out of the house with. And then talked to a guy on 256, and he got home the day before the tornado and was relaxing after his second battle and win with cancer. He had his last radiation treatment, got home and I was pretty happy for the day, of course, as he should be. And that night his house got destroyed by a tree, and so that was a heck of a welcome home for him. But the crazy thing to me about those two people is they're not calling asking for anything. Our phones rung off the hook. It's been pretty crazy. Some of the messages that we have gotten and the amounts of phone calls we've gotten from people has been it's been disheartening. I'll say this for sure, is that there's a whole lot of negative noise going on, a lot. And I will tell you that the team that you have working for you, these guys bust their tails to risk their lives. And I think they probably need a little bit more than just negative noise all the time. And so that being said,
state that a disaster declaration has been declared, it's open now. If you Google IDHS, state disaster relief, there's an application on there. It's a pretty simple form, just your name and email address and just how to get a hold of you. I don't have no timeline on when that's gonna come to fruition. I don't have any idea how much money they're gonna be passing out per check, all that bit. And I don't know if we're gonna meet the threshold for a presidential declaration on this or not. Somehow, some way, if we do, I still don't know, but I think that it's worth the effort because we're still fighting and battling the people as from last spring. And so that's disheartening as well. But we're working for you. And that guy right there next to Jason's not gonna give up on this. I think he's he's gonna jump up and down and bang drums in front of the Chicago FEMA office until they finally listen to him and he's gonna carry across the finish line. I think he's gonna bring around. So that being said, for all the damage and stuff like that happened, I don't have like a total dollar figure yet, but we had, I think we had 10 homes destroyed. I think we have 35 or 36 that have major damage. I think the minor damage category was about 150 or so, and then a whole lot with some effects. I know a couple of farmers that had pretty bad days and lost a lot of crop and grains and a lot of their cattle. And so, but I will also say that it's nice because neighbor after neighbor, and everybody just seems to get up and get to work and all that bit. And I know we have calls a lot for volunteers and what to do and all that bit, and it's difficult when we're in the middle of that. I know everybody wants to help and all that stuff, but you know, there's 2 people here full time. There are side of things, and it makes it a little difficult to try to route people around all this. We're happy to get out and do some of these damage assessments because we're on the timeline. So I will say for certain, I don't want to do this without guys that I get to do this with. And I also don't want to do this without you guys. I appreciate the latitude that you give me because you trust me. And I also appreciate your leadership when we need it. We've got questions and all of it. And so I appreciate what you do. And I appreciate the team that you put together. And I say this a lot, and I mean it a lot. Every time I say it is I'm happy to be on the team. Thank you for that. And I would do this with anybody else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Okay.
Was that upgrade from like an F1 to an F2 or?
So here's the mistake that the news people made that they're never gonna admit to. And I'm happy to tell you this. So they stopped us, the National Weather Service guy hopped the truck with me, we're out surveying damage. And one of the news crews, I don't know if they followed us out there or what, but they did, they got out there. And so they want to interview Michael from the National Weather Service. And he told them, he says, right now, consistently, it's about 110, 150 miles an hour. He says, we don't have a complete determination because we're starting at the beginning of where this hit in the county. And we're gonna follow the trail all the way down there. And when we get to the end, we'll make a decision. But right now, the things we've seen has been consistent with an F1 tornado. By the end of the trip down that 23 miles, which ended just across the river from us, but also knocked a power line tower into the river with power lines into the water, we shut the river down for 2.5 days, yeah. And so and he determined then, after seeing all that stuff, that it was an F2 tornado. But the news people heard what they heard, and as soon as we drove away, I'm sure they uploaded it through satellite and put it out there that it's an F1 tornado. And they said, well, National Weather Service has updated their findings. They didn't update them. They just said the wrong things. They thought they were gonna put something out first, and lo and behold, they had to undercover correct themselves because they just got it. So. Anybody else?
Well, did you do any drone footage of the damage?
Yes, yeah, and I'm not techy enough to evidently get it off and get it on my iPad and put it on the TV over there.
Well, I mean,
And so, yeah, and it's a tool that's fantastic for us because we can map those things and we can stitch together a 3D map, and I'm trying to get the whole tornado path, and I don't know whether we'll be able to get that done or not because of time and the things that they go on, but they're an amazing tool, and I can't say that about them. They come in invaluable for us and in damage assessments and search and rescues and you name it. So it's really changed the game for how we do business for sure.
Thank you.
My
Thanks, Matt. Okay, any other department updates?
Sorry.
Haven't had any auditors come up and confer with you?
We have State Board of Accounts and in right now, but no, everything's been going pretty
Good.
smooth. So,
Anything, lady?
No, we're meeting with Josh one day next week, I think, right? Walk through the.
Right.
Walk through the remodel of the full jail. We'll turn it into a juvie center. One day next week. I don't know if he's made it here.
Can I ask you a question? Will there be any time in the near future that you will be making a decision on moratoriums for future data centers?
We'll discuss it.
We can discuss it.
Yeah.
But you'll probably make a decision after that, then.
After when, excuse me?
I said you will probably make a decision after you discuss it.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
You have anything, Mr. Bramer?
No.
Okay. Gonna open it up for public comment. Come to the podium, state your name and address. And got 3 minutes for your spiel.
I'll get up.
No.
No pie, no pie.
Robert Black, 1980 with Fourth Street Road. One of the things that concern me is that the county has to work diligently to try to keep drainage ditches open in these Spectrum and all these T-Mobile that's doing all the updates and putting a new fiber optic and all this. They're tearing the road ditches up and I think they're expecting the county to come back and fix them. It's causing flooding problems. Fourth Street Road, just different areas. When I was out helping with assessments, you see all this stuff. When they're tearing them up, there wasn't from a storm or anything like that. Is there a way for the county to enforce that they go back and fix these road ditches? Because we have enough flooding problems in Crawdaddy Lane anyway. And anywhere else in the county. But they're just leaving them tore to pieces and blocking them off for Jason and them. This throughout the whole county. It's just not Fourth Street Road. It's everywhere. Every place I've driven, you see where they've been through. And it's nothing that the county's doing anything different to where they're putting this in. There needs to be some type of enforcement to do that.
We do have an enforcement on it. With all the storms, I haven't been able to get
Okay.
a moment to bring the guy that I gotta talk to, and we're gonna take it to the county.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad, so.
But I've talked to Jason about it and pointed, and he's actually went out there before last Wednesday hit us, so, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a guy, we'll be taking a tour here. I mean, give me a minute.
Most of us, if it's, on my side, even if it's in the
No,
county,
but-
that I'll fix them myself, so the county don't have to come do
It's
it.
over on the other side too.
And so there's a lot of people that does that, but that type needs to be addressed. I know you've been busy with the storm and everything. I just didn't know what you reported to you
Yeah,
about.
I've got his number and everything, so we'll be taking a tour. Where I've even got some pictures where some of the crews have threw discarded pieces of fiber in a guy's yard and stuff, so.
Yeah, they're leaving reels, metal reels that they have that stuff wrote up on it. They've been sitting there for weeks on end.
Now, there's an open hole up on K Road, where there's just an open hole there where they're not putting on nothing on top of it or anything.
They've done
That's
that on
where
my
the
side of
pit's
town,
going
too.
in.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
It's open, it's right off 62
Yeah,
Hill.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
I've had a report for discussion, they dug 3 holes. Trying to drill through a creek bed. And couldn't do it, and he said his words were a hell of a mess. And didn't do any cleanup or filling in.
And then
What road is that on?
Thompson Road,
Thompson Road?
Yeah,
before you get to Chicken Run.
yeah. Yeah, I'm aware, we just gotta wait till we get them guys up here.
Yes, sir.
I live on the corner of 1066 and 56 with the Tabernacle, and where they were doing the work coming from Pope Road and coming down through there, and they hit our water line. And one of the neighbors up there said that she'd heard that in the area, since they'd been around doing that, that they'd hit Stucker Fork water lines 12 times.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But.
So therefore, does the people that's putting it in, do they have to pay for Stucker Fork for repairing their water lines? Or
If it was located, yes. Cause we had them hit the Ridge, Rikers Ridge 3 times and it was located, so. They're turning the invoice in to CDM to fix it, not to us, so I do know that much.
Then the other thing is, to seriously consider is doing away with the buffer zone. I know that was a hot topic a few years ago. It's, from my side of the fence, I go do inspections for the fire side. But once the inspection's done, everything's approved, and it becomes the county's issue, whatever. Yeah, but the county or the city be getting the money from the building permits and all that. Is there consideration of doing away with the buffer zone from the city and all that? I don't know what all the legal ratification is for that, or if you have to have signatures of the residents in that area.
So you
So they
do
look at it.
fire inspections on like the dwellings or structures?
Yeah, if it's like today, I was at Mass and Chemical twice, one for a pump protest and then I went to evaluate the building. But once it's signed, once it's all documentation signed, then it becomes the county's thing to enforce the buffer zone. So I've ran into this several times. And it would just be easier to just deal with one agency instead of starting out with one and ended up with another that. We just do away with it and let the county collect the money for the building permits. That's my personal opinion, and I think it'd be benefit to the county also. You know, we make a little extra money from the building permits, so when people do add on businesses or whatever, that you get that to get going. So, but I don't know what the legal things you have to do. I know Pat said he's looked at it, so.
Yes.
And so I didn't know if it had to be brought up on on the agenda to bring it up to make things more legal or anything like that, so they can be looked into.
I agree with him.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
I'm sorry. Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to come up and say thank you for letting me look through the documents for the proposal from the Energy or whatever the company was that was working on the solar panels. I'm not sure if you guys addressed that this meeting, but did you get an updated layout of like the cost breakdown for the different projects? Because I know you guys asked about that a couple meetings ago.
Not yet.
Okay, well, it was just a really interesting proposal, so thank you for letting me look at that, and that's really all I have.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Name's Tim Thompson, I'm 2142 East Valley Trail. I just wanted to ask a quick question. I heard somebody Waldo mention the buffer zone. Does the proving ground fall within the buffer zone with the city? Cause it's not too far away from it.
That's right, it goes up to the south line, but,
It's in the
But-
county, the JPG's in the county.
right.
JPG's.
I think the buffer
yes.
zone goes up to the fence line, so
Mhm.
anything south of it is the buffer zone, but
Is there a map somewhere that shows the buffer zone? Cause where I live, I had something come up and they said I lived within the buffer zone, even though I'm in the county, so.
I believe if you're on the GIS website,
Uh-huh.
you can select the layer that shows the 2 mile buffer.
Okay, thank you.
What was your address again?
2142 East Valley Trail.
You should be in, yeah, you're in the buffer zone, cause the city, the line is right at the top of Telegraph, I believe, isn't it? WRX along in there.
Well,
Buffer zone starts. after
I know.
you go past the first driveway on the left, when you get to the top of Telegraph, then it becomes.
You sure about, I thought it was
Hey,
looking
I
for you, but
had
yeah,
some survey done and they said I was in the buffer zone.
you are, but
you know,
you're actually, it's
I'm
county,
in the county.
yes.
Thank you.
yeah, it's a little, I mean, when you look for I don't think it calls out the buffer zone, so I think it is just like it's a layer. Huh?
It's
Zoning, if you click on the zoning layer,
And then
Yeah, well-
highlighted in red.
well, it'll tell you, cause it'll have a color coding what's what,
Yes.
so. But it's not a circle, it's not like 2 miles around, it is,
Yeah.
But
oh, it sure is.
I live out on Rikers Ridge and I'm not in it, but right across the road from me is, so there's no uniformity to it, but anyway. Next.
Dennis Clifford, 7878 West State Road 56. So I didn't know anything about the data center until this article came out in the paper. That was either March 31st or April 1st, whenever we got our paper in the mail. So I'm trying to learn as we go, and what is the process to do a moratorium for any others that would come up? Because it seems to me that if another one is proposed and we don't have a moratorium, then it can go through. What is the process to do a moratorium?
Were you at our last meeting?
I was.
I read what the process was last meeting. It hadn't changed, so it's still the same.
Okay, so did you work on it in between times, or are you considering it?
We're thinking about it, I think, but I don't know that we've, yeah. What are gonna be what would be the reasons? Other than someone else is doing it, what would be the reasons? And as we've said, we don't have the information on this one in particular because it's not to that stage yet.
So far, it's just been a development plan that's been submitted.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And then the next step is they submit a what?
Permitting, wouldn't it?
An application for
And then
building
after-
permit.
Permitting is the design plans, right?
Mhm.
So you know exactly what it's gonna curtail.
So then you get the engineering firm to look over that, because it's very complicated and we won't understand what it's saying. Well, here were my concerns that I had last time. And I think it's everybody's concerns. We're worried about the water. We're worried about the electricity. We're worried about eminent domain. When the power lines come in, are they gonna take people's land to say, we have to have this because we have to power this data center? So when the engineering firm looks at the plan, are you gonna make them aware that they've said they're gonna pay for everything and that the utilities aren't gonna go up? And are they gonna be aware that they've said they're gonna truck in the water and that they're not gonna be using our water? And will the engineering firm have these parameters that have to be followed? Because that's what, and I don't know what to call the family, the family's not the developers, right? The Ford family, are they the developers or are the developers the people we don't know about yet?
The Ford family just owns the ground.
They just-
Just
have
just like,
the
if you were
redevelopment.
gonna sell your property to a plant that's gonna come in here. You're the landowner.
Okay,
You're
so we
selling.
don't call Fords the developers.
No.
The developers are still unknown at this point because they've not been named. Is that correct? We don't know who they are.
Mm,
Okay. At what point will we know that? Not until the building permit is submitted?
actually, would their name be on the previous?
Mhm.
Don't think so.
It was a JPG redevelopment,
It wasn't on the
development plan.
Development plan.
but it would have to be on the building
Building permit
permit.
would
So
have-
we won't know who the big guy is until they submit the building permit. Correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so I got that part right.
So where did you get your information? Like you mentioned, trucking in the water and those things you threw out there?
Just things that I've read. I only have the information that I've read.
I was just curious.
Pretty sure they don't talk about trucking in water there though, so.
Daniel Ford told me to my face that he would prefer if they trucked in the water because it would be clean.
Well, it's gonna be the closed loop cooling system. Once again, water does not have the right physical properties for what they want to do. So it's gonna be a system, I think probably propylene glycol is the
Glycol.
material they use now, so.
I'm just telling you where we found out they wanted to truck in the water.
Well, so they're gonna truck in the cooling fluid, yes. They're not gonna,
But they're not gonna use our water.
It would be
Even for
probably-
the initial fill up, it's not gonna come from a local resource or a local water company.
They'll use our domestic water, like for their
for those
workers and employees and staff.
sanitary sewer water.
Yeah.
But
But
not,
the cooling loops will not be filled with water from here.
okay. So we hold them accountable to that, right?
But with a closed loop system, I know people think they will truck it in. It'll probably come, they'll need enough that they'll have to bring it in that kind of quantities. But they, what, you'd want clean water with cause you're gonna It's gonna be like your, your,
Radiator.
antifreeze in your car. You know, companies sell you, it's a 50-50 mixture, water and ethylene glycol. So this will be polypropylene glycol and water.
Will the engineering company be able to come to a meeting and explain to us their findings? Okay.
I'll come up.
Come on.
How's everybody doing tonight?
So far, so good. How about you?
Good.
Good.
I'm tired. It's been a long day. So I guess my question to you guys would be, what is your understanding of a closed loop cooling system?
Same thing as a car.
Same thing as a car.
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's my understanding.
right.
Okay.
Or it could be
How
like
does the coolant get cooled in a car?
air across the radiator
Yes.
through the veins.
Okay, so a closed loop cooling system, the patent for it was created because exactly what you just said, the old method of cooling the water used in the process is fan, moving air across the water. The closed loop cooling system was invented because that process is too costly, using air. So they use, ideally, for their money, their bottom line, they use evaporative cooling. So they use water to cool the primary loop or the closed loop system. If they don't use evaporative cooling, then they use many diesel generators or just power off of our grid in order to power thousands upon thousands of fans. And that results in large usage of power by these companies, by these businesses. So either they're using water to cool the closed loop, or they're using radiative cooling to cool the closed loop. To generate that power, it also requires water. So either way, they're using more water in the whole realm, the big picture of all this, than just what's in their closed loop. Plus you have the makeup water, blow downs, contaminated stuff that they have to truck off somewhere if they're not dumping it into our land. So I was just curious if you guys have looked into it at all, and at the scale that these people are making it, they haven't actually built a closed loop system of this size ever.
Third largest in the world.
It's still an experimental technology.
So I work in the chemical industry and we have used closed loop cooling systems for a very long time.
I said
So-
at this scale.
So
Yeah.
you assume they're gonna try to cool 7.1 million square feet with one system. That would be silly.
No, I didn't.
Why would you try?
I asked
Well,
you
you-
guys.
No, you
What was
did.
your
You were
understanding?
talking about how big this thing's gonna be.
Yes,
So there'll be one for each building, or maybe more than one for each building. Why would you build just a big one? Because if that goes down, then your whole site goes down. So it wouldn't be
you're
that.
talking about redundancy.
Well, you're gonna have one for each building or two for each building, something for each building. I don't know how many. I don't know the design, you know? That's why we're waiting for the building permit application to see what is the design. I mean,
Well,
I
part of that would go towards the question you asked earlier, what is the purpose of establishing a moratorium for further data centers? Right? The point of doing that would be, like you guys like to say, another tool in our chest. We don't have to run out and approve every data center that comes across just because they say, oh, we're gonna give you $20 billion or what have you. It's a
But you
chance to.
have assumed that's what we're gonna do, even with the one going forward, that we're just gonna approve it.
Well,
No, you have.
yeah,
So,
pretty much. I have.
if their design-
Because you guys haven't shown me anything different.
Well, if their design doesn't match what they said they're gonna do, why would we let it go forward?
Well, from what I'm gathering, you guys have no idea of what their design is.
They
Am
don't,
I wrong?
they don't.
Until it's on paper, nobody
I
knows.
mean, if a chemical plant were gonna be built at Jefferson Proving Ground, do you think that chemical plant would have a design ready to go before they knew if it was going forward?
Yeah,
No, they wouldn't.
No,
why not?
Because you don't know if if you're gonna spend, you know how much the cost is to design a building or a chemical plant would be?
I'm sure Meta or Amazon or these other companies can
No.
afford it.
It's, I said a chemical plant, not a data
We're
center,
not
so.
talking about chemical plants.
Well, it's the same, it's the same thing though. No one has, no one has a design sitting on the table to plop down somewhere. They gotta figure out where they're gonna build it. And then there's gonna be all the design calculations that are gonna go into to make your design, so.
I'm just curious why you guys keep downplaying a closed loop cooling system like it's just as simple as the one in your car when it's not. I urge you guys to learn more about closed loop cooling systems. Do your own research, you know, you guys constantly, every time I've come up here and other people, where are you getting your information? Where are you getting your information? Well, from the internet, where everybody gets their information. So that's available to you guys as well. I suggest you guys dig into it. There's patents on closed loop cooling systems where you can actually dive into it and see what it's about, what it does, you know, what it requires and all that stuff. But that way you guys are more informed, as we continue to be more informed as well. That way we can work together instead of butting heads all the time. It's kind of what it seems like on this particular, you know, situation, which I can understand it's kind of a hot topic, if you will, but I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Tanya Hess on Pleasure Ridge Lane in Madison. So I'm probably gonna piggyback on what Eli's already said and Chris, but going back to the moratorium. My first questions and comments mainly have to do with the data center developer building permit. That's file, submit, and then comments about environmental concerns. So why would we not want to establish a moratorium? Does the county have a data ordinance at this time, data center ordinance at this time? No.
I mean, the Unified Development Ordinance doesn't list everything that can go into a heavy industrial zone. It doesn't.
Okay, so the answer is no.
So it's not specifically called out there, no. But does it have enough other possibilities? Once again, is there was a system, a process that they went through to make that determination. It wasn't like it came in and the guy said, yeah, fits. No, he had to go through a process and that's what he did.
I just find that unusual since we're having, the proposal is a very large proposal for the county, actually for the country. And we don't have a data center ordinance at all. The ordinance can even state rules on environmental assessments. I understand that's a common and legitimate part of the land use process, so we don't have anything set in place. I know, here in Indiana, Park County, just a few days ago, their county commissioners adopted a new ordinance specifically for data center development, and they don't even have a proposal at this date. Hancock County just last month, that's May, adopted an ordinance just for data center siting and development. And Lake County has one, they had one back in 2023. And so we do not have a data center ordinance, it sounds like. Jefferson County could set minimum standards for the siting. I know the BCA's proposed development is accepted under heavy industrial and is considering this as a warehouse by definition. But do we have any parameters approved for infrastructure or environmental protection? So you're saying at this time that we do not. Are there any operational limits that we would consider even during the construction process, all the way to the data center coming fully online to even when the data center is decommissioned? Sometimes these data center ordinances could include asking the developer to put up a bond to help mitigate any decommissioning costs. So are you saying you're not even considering a data center ordinance?
No, I mean, that would come out of the plan commission, because that's what the Unified Development Ordinance it originates at.
I just listed other counties in our state who have approved and adopted data center ordinances, and they were county commissioners.
Where did it start at?
I don't know, but it was adopted
Should
by
have
the
started
county
with planning
commissioners.
commission, then through the BZA, just like the solar panel.
Solar ordinances.
So you would work together with the plan commission on a data
Absolutely.
center ordinance. Okay. I know it's been stated that this proposed data center development location is just perfect because we will not see it. Have you heard people say that? We're not even gonna see it, so why would be concerned about the data center? Cause it's tucked away in the airfield. Have you heard anyone say that in the community? We're not even gonna say.
Yes.
Okay. So the proper regulations are not in place. The citizens will see it in their future water bills or possibly lack thereof, quality in water or pressure in the lines and their utility bills. And with the possible light and noise pollution and the possible increase in transmission lines running through the properties. I know one resident who lives near the proposed data center site. They even gave testimony at the BZA meeting. They've already seen it in the form of a 30-day eviction notice explaining he and his family of 6 had to move. I would hope that most citizens who make this argument that we won't see it know the history of some unfortunate people who did not see the companies that adversely affected them. But I guess I can remind you of some examples. The Hinkley residents in California did not see the leaking of unlined ponds on Pacific Gas and Electric properties, but many residents were negatively affected by years worth of leaking chromium-6. So yes, industrial waste catch or containment basins can leak. The residents of wildlife in and around Prince William Sound couldn't see the Exxon Valdez ship way out in the water, but they sure lived through the awful effects of an oil spill, which decades later, life has still not returned to 100% normal there. Those living within a 2,500 kilometer radius of reactor number 4 did not see it, but sure lived and died from the Chernobyl disaster. And the residents and livestock of Parkersburg, West Virginia, could not see the DuPont chemical plant from their homes, but they sure experienced the horrid effects of PFAS dumped in their groundwater. And at the last commissioners meeting, we had a citizen speak who had concerns about what this county is doing to mitigate what any future data center development could do in regards to negatively impacting our environment. Maybe it's not the intention of companies to meet their best bottom line by skirting environmental laws, but many have and do. And closer to home, Dow Chemical and its subsidiaries, including Dow Corning, which is now just Dow, have faced multiple environmental enforcement actions and settlements over decades involving violations and abuses of federal and state environmental law. So with the huge size of this proposed data center for our area, we don't fully understand the environmental implications. I just hope the community is allowed public hearings or even at best a community action group allowed into the decision-making process before and after the permitting process. I would hope our county officials would not want to see a return on investment for just one wealthy family, but the best return on investment without environmental harm for its constituents. So there's my comments.
Anybody else? Yes, yes, sir.
I was not guilty, but I would. I'll try to keep it short. My name is Charles Sprasing or Sprosing, however you want to do it. I grew up up DuPont and Dad was from sales and they pronounce it Sprasing, okay? What I was gonna say, but let me start out, if I may, and I will do it. My daughter, she's a nurse at the Hanover Nursing Home, and she could not be here, and if I can bring it up. And she just had something that she wanted me to. Up here. It seems that she couldn't be here, she had to work tonight. If I may, she had a little thing here, she she wanted to say, and I said, if I got a chance, I would get up there. Okay, but first of all, I want to ask. There, and it was on Facebook, and I don't know who put it on there, but there was a list of rules that Indiana has already established concerning these. And all the things that the companies had to go by, it listed Indiana statutes down through. I should have put it off and took them all down, and I didn't do it, if they're actually real. You know, I don't know. On Facebook, you don't know what's real and what somebody just put on there. But one of the things that was on there was it gave what the decibel was within a certain distance of the fence that had to be maintained. And the light and everything. And what I want to know is who's going to enforce and make sure they are responsible for that? Can you tell me who's going to do it? Is it going to be somebody from the State House? Is there going to be somebody from here? If there's a complaint called in and said, hey, you know, if you can hear it 5 miles away, it's not gonna be within that. I don't remember what it was, but it was less than 100 decibels that you were supposed to be able to less than that, and only like 30 or 40 feet from the fence of the property. So if it's more than that, who's going to enforce that? Do you all have any idea, or have you even thought about that coming up? I mean, we as citizens, what kind of recourse if we want to bring a complaint? Do we just come to you and then you pass it on? Is there an agency that we pass it on to? At the State House, or do you have any idea what it will be?
The state loves to pass things and then put it on us. I mean, if there were a complaint with the sound, you'd come to us and then we would check it out, so.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Who's gonna be the state?
Well, they just pass the rules and make us enforce them, so.
I've got an idea which nobody would like. And this is just strictly a obscure observation. Tear down Monument Center and all of it in Indianapolis and put the data center right there. That's radical, but it's getting to the point where some of us, and I hope to say I'm not radical, but I am about things, the way I believe about things. I believe in things right and wrong. I believe they are to be black and blue and everybody have to go by it. You all.
I think we would agree with you. We're not, I mean.
Well, but then.
So I know people want us to know details, but we don't know details right now.
But we want to know details up front so as we can have an opinion,
well,
especially when we come to vote or who we even come to do that.
Once again, people don't, I'm not sure why but there is not a detailed design of what's gonna be built on Jefferson Proving Ground yet.
So how can it be approved? How could?
Once again, the only thing that was approved was a data center fits our definitions of a heavy industrial zone. So it'll fit into those things. That's all that's.
Were they given tax abatements already?
No.
There wasn't anything proposed for that?
They passed an economic revitalization area, which that is one of the tools involved, but no one's asked for a tax abatement. People just assume that that's what's gonna happen. No one's asked for one, so why would?
We assume to give them a tax abatement?
Well, why would the county want to give them a tax abatement if they didn't ask for one?
I don't know why it was even approved then ahead of time.
Well, that's one of the tools that become available when you pass an economic revitalization area.
Okay, if I may, I will, and I'll have the floor back. I'll just read my daughter's comments. She said, everyone believes that the old proving ground is just wasted land. And Missy is 59, my daughter. I'm very proud of her. She said, in my lifetime, I have seen the return of many animals, birds, trees, frogs, plant life that have flourished. We have bald eagles that hunt in the creeks, which she lives up on Indian Tuck. Okay. She lives up on East Skyman Road. Bald eagles that hunt in the creeks near where I live. I've seen turtles again that I haven't seen since I was a young girl. I've even heard calls of timber wolves that aren't supposed to be in the proving ground, you know.
Bears aren't either, but supposedly.
Oh, well, they come where they want to, don't they? You know, so this data center will deflate at least half of Jefferson County water table. We will see the environmental impact for generations to come. It will impact farmland, livestock, families within miles of the epicenter. There have not been enough studies done on the environmental impact in counties in Indiana that already have them. They are not warehouses. They are businesses that consume millions of gallons of water daily, emit sound and noise pollution 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, continuously without stopping. Immediate impact will expand beyond the 8 to 10 mile expanse projected. Electrical costs, water costs will exceed any cost projected for any individual in the family and the community. There will not be money that goes to the county that will not have, they will not have to pay taxes for years to come. Whoops. So this data center will cost the citizens of Jefferson County far more than they will ever get back. Our county will be scarred for another lifetime. Our grandchildren's grandchildren not be able to live a sustainable life here in years to come. If not for here now, then stop this data center to save the future of Jefferson County children. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I got it, I would read it if you let. Thank you, sir. Now, I know one other thing I want to say. I was expecting far more people here today. Okay, I attended the rally down on the courthouse there a couple of weeks ago. There were 50 of us down there, and I was disappointed on the amount of people that showed up for that. You know, and I haven't been to a commissioners meeting for years. But I promise you, the county council and commissioners meetings, I will become. And if nothing else, to listen, to hear your side of it, because there's so many answers I don't have. But I don't mind asking questions.
It's all right, so you do know that it's live streamed and you can still ask questions, but it's, if you can't make it, you can listen to them.
Well, I don't do a whole lot.
All right, that's fine.
I come in first.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just giving you that option.
Yeah.
Is this being like, okay.
Well, good. Well, that's like,
And-
when we had the rally down there, they recorded that. I don't know whether they live streamed it or what, you
I mean,
know.
it's live streamed, plus there's a recording that's put on the
There you
YouTube
go.
county website, so you got both of them.
I haven't said anything that offended anybody, but maybe in my, and I think out of the box sometimes, you know, completely 2 or 3 miles out of the box. But sometimes the box doesn't need to contain us. We need to think outside of it. We were talking about other things down at Marble Hill. When they were gonna put Marble Hill down there with those nuclear reactors and they put them in, and it would have been fine if the inspectors would make sure that the concrete structures were safe to do it. But the idea was brought up, well, what happens if one of them explodes? And somebody said, hey, if it explodes, there won't be anybody in the area for 100 years to even worry about it. So, you know.
They won't explode. They haven't exploded. So,
But I'm just saying, you know, that was what was said.
yeah, but I mean, in all, never mind, I won't go there. So they, it's up to do.
Good serviceman.
Sure.
Once again, I didn't think I was gonna say anything, but I do have some questions. So my name is Patsy Craig. I live on 256. Been there 42 years. And some of the things that I have read, these other cities, towns are setting moratoriums so they have time to develop regulations and things for these data centers, because nobody has any regulations and rules about it, except for a couple of places in Indianapolis, is what I read. So my questions tonight are these. So it actually concerns this battery plant or battery storage place we're developing, as well as the data center. So, as I understand it, lithium ion batteries are what are used. I also understand from what I read, you don't put out a fire from a lithium ion battery with water. It makes it worse. You have to have something special to take care of that.
I can answer all of that. It fell in my fire district, so I have to do constant inspections out there. It's not the same lithium ion what you use in a vehicle. I can't remember the exact term of it. It is lithium ion, but it's a different one. The plan for all that, which we had, right, which it was actually approved by the city because it's set in the buffer zone.
Okay.
And so, but then once it goes gets completed, then it's gonna fall under the county's realm. The county council did a pretty good abatement to that, but with these lithium ion batteries, yes, you're right. It can cause a problem. We're basically gonna be cooling the containers on either side of it if it's on fire. The rest of it, and once they have to, we have to let it burn. We can't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
There is some new technology out, which we've been using the same technology since 2004, that would help us cool it. That we carry on the fire truck for structure fires. And it's the same thing, that it's biodegradable, blah, blah, blah. But, you have to keep it, we have to cool down the other containers. We have to let it burn, but the battery farm had to also provide more updated equipment to the fire department, i.e. air monitoring equipment. It has to do stuff for the emergency management. They have to provide us, keep us in stock with the stuff we add to the tank at 500. They had to supply us with, guns, blitz nozzles, that we can put 500 gallons of water on each side of it. They had to tie into DuPont's main feed that goes to the water tower to be able to supply us enough water to do that, because you're talking 500 gallons a minute per nozzle if we have to go that high. So there's 1,000 gallons a minute, so it could go on for a good while. But we also have to do passive air monitoring, whether it's on the ground and seal off the area. Then that's what we have to do. Actually, the battery farm is paying $45,000 per equipment for us to have on our apparatus when we're going in, because most likely so close to our station, we're gonna be first in, what we call first in. So the lithium ion, what I've learned about them too is a 10-acre battery farm produces as much as 1,100 acres of solar panels. One farm. It doesn't scare me so bad. The battery farm doesn't. It's no different what we got running up and down the road with these vehicles. You got about 15 seconds inside every car that's electric to get out. If not, you're done. There's no, we can't get there quick enough. Even if we was sitting on station, we can't get there in that 15, less than 15 minutes, depending on where it's at. So when you look at that spectrum up in the battery farm, I'd rather deal with the battery farm than a solar farm, because it goes down into the ground. You got all the, whatever deposit the solar panels are. So, they also have containment around there. I've been going over there every step of the way to make sure all this stuff's being followed from the fire department side, because we don't want it getting off the property.
Right.
And they've been more, these companies that come in here for this stuff has been more than upfront. We have set down meetings. They're actually bringing people in from New York in July to train all first responders, all our mutual aid partners, whether it's police, fire, EMS, all county fire departments, city fire departments, the EMS folks, the local police department, Hanover police, city police, all this stuff. They're going above and beyond to make sure everybody understands what's going on. And we also will have phone contacts. They can send stuff to us while they're on their way here. There will be one person there, but the higher ups, as it starts making a chain effect, so they start coming here. So we can contain that and keep things as safe as possible. So I'm more worried about the car fires than I am about this battery farm.
So what I'm hearing you say, and I'm gonna ask this in the form of a question, are we saying that our county, with all of the fire departments we have all of the equipment and the proper things we need, and we're big enough to handle anything that might come in the way of a fire from this massive data center?
From this massive data center, well, it's 7.1 million square foot. If you take the church fire, we drove 10,000 gallons of water a minute for several hours, 1.7 million gallons of water for that. The city did have to activate their pumps to keep us in that water. The fire suppression systems they have in these facilities of the data centers is way more tech than I've ever seen in my life to control the fire. If it was to want to break out in there, of all the different systems they have in there, they have anything from thermal imaging to heat guns. I call them heat guns, anything to measure heat, anything into that to contain that in that building. So the high techness of the fire suppression system, which we would require them to have fire hydrants every 500 feet around that for us to tap into. But if I was a betting person in a lot of these facilities, the suppression system that's in them will keep it contained and put it out, because it's gonna take the oxygen away from it. So when you look at it from that perspective, from me looking at it from the fire department side, yeah, the data center is my first rodeo on it. The battery farm is my first rodeo, but when I sat down and talked with safety people and people that go around and evaluate businesses, that does loss prevention and all that, that's who I sat down and talked with to say, what else do we need to add in? And then that's when we go, like the battery farm, I'm gonna need 2 guns. I'm gonna need $45,000 worth of equipment. I had to be able to read what type of toxic smoke's coming off there. I had to have the right sensors in that machine. So they're making that happen. They're actually, I've turned on all that stuff, and they're getting ready to send the checks out. We'll not order equipment until then. We gotta have money in hand before we order that type of equipment. But then they're gonna be doing training with us every year. This is not a one-time thing in July that we're gonna do. This is gonna be a continual thing every year. The only people that's actually gonna be allowed in there will be the fire department personnel. So if somebody has a medical emergency in there, their workers, the fire department automatically gets a call to that facility. Because we have to be there to get them in and then go through all the checklists that they're gonna have for us. Yeah, we're having to update stuff. Don't get me wrong, we'll be receiving a new fire truck here about August, September. And we had to build in to have computer systems on it so we can pull that up while we're on our way there. So that we know the safety plans, we know what we have to do, what we have to coordinate it all. But we're just not limited to the fire departments and primaries go there. It's gonna be all the county fire companies that surround these. We didn't have to call them in, whatever. Any fire in Jefferson County, doesn't matter if it's a data center or a house or whatever type of business. And I just got a high compliment from about the sheriff's department today of how they help actually jump in and deploy hoses several times at these fires that we have. So, yeah, it could take a lot of water, but then again, it could not, because it'll probably be out when we get there. I did evaluate a new fire pump system at Massing Chemical. We have a chemical plant that sits here. They could contain 42,000 gallons of water on site without it going anywhere. And then the restriction you have, you're working in the industry of local industry, that the IDM is constantly checking. That when I was at BSG, if we had a wash basin that we had to clean, if it spiked a little bit, within about 15 minutes, the city would be calling, hey, y'all dumped something. What was it? Well, this was sludge, and it still fell in the back, but this spiked just a hair. There's more technology there that a lot of people don't know. The fire department knows, because or people who work in that industry and in facilities knows how strict things are. IDM is very strict on things. We've had trouble with people burning stuff they're not supposed to burn. One guy had to clean up. But we've had several of them had to clean up and cost them a lot of money. So I think all the safety procedures, as long as we put them in place, standard operating procedures, I think we're good. In my opinion, I've been doing this over 41 years now. So I've had to review a lot of plans over the years on whatever was coming in.
Matt?
Yeah, I think, and I think I understand the intent of your question, and I will say that I think by far and large, the volunteer fire companies do what they can do as best they can on it. You're asking if.
There's no doubt about that. I'm asking if
So
there's enough of them with enough knowledge, is all I'm asking. And the equipment and the whatever they need to take care
So
of.
we're gonna face the same shortages that the train derails today, right? We don't have the equipment to take care of all that. And I think that your mind would be blown if you had a clue how much chemical is run up and down the rail system, stored in different places across the county, and that ships across commercial vehicles through here every day of the week. We don't pay a bit of attention to that, and we're not worried about that, but we're also not making sure that these guys have the equipment to take care of business there. Nobody wants your taxes to go out, something like that. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with a much greater problem with the rail system in here than you're ever going to inside of a building with the fire suppression system.
But I think that's what's happening in a lot of counties across the United States. These data centers come in, And there are problems and the taxpayers are the ones that end up paying for the additional fire department and EMTs and.
I don't see that, honestly.
Well,
talked
I've
about
read
four-
that.
Well, I've talked to like 4 or 5 counties that.
I'm talking about other states and stuff. There's moratoriums all over the United States now because of all the problems that they've caused everywhere.
I hear you. I hear you.
So
There's a train deal on it right now.
I may bring some little, I'm sorry, bring a little humor here along with that. I've got a pretty good imagination. So in my mind, I see we're possibly not prepared with what we need to fight these fires, which you assured us that we are, but let's say a fire takes place out there and it becomes massive. So this data center is not supposed to be seen, it's amongst trees. And when a fireman speaks, these trees are fuel for a fire. So, you know, let's say this fire gets out of hand. It starts in with the trees and it moves to the land that backs up to this wildlife refuge, where I'm told there's massive amounts of unexploded
50,000
ordnance there.
acres of unexploded ordnance of the center part, not the outside part, but center part.
So-
That's your government before you leaving that there on you.
Yeah. So what happens if that happens? If it hits that ordinance? How big of a hole are we gonna blow in Jefferson County?
We're just speculating is the thing. We can-
Yes, we are,
So-
and that's just in my mind. And you might find it funny and stupid, but it's a possibility.
The car could run through the fence right now and go blow up who knows what.
Exactly. So how much danger are we in should that ordinance be exploded is what I'm asking in the bottom line.
You know, you're not in any more danger today than you will be when the data center's there.
Right, but so today, if somebody hit that and a car went in there and caught on fire, how much damage will that do?
That actually falls under the federal, because they have big oaks, wildland firefighting group is there.
Mhm.
They burn those spills off every year.
Okay.
And so they do that for wildlife management
Mhm.
and to keep it from getting out of, you know.
Out of hand like that.
Out of hand like that.
Okay.
And we have a mutual aid with them. If a wildland fire goes in, starts in there
Mhm.
to get their people out, and that's it. We don't, because you don't know where all this stuff is, and I don't know if you call it fortunate, but my wife and my twin brother, actually, when my wife still works for Katie Davis, used to go out there when they'd explode that stuff on standby. I think Matt even done it when he was from BMS. And there's just no way for the federal government to clean all that up. And of course, it's all restricted. You can't get in there. You have to have special permission and all that. Even if they call us in, we have to be escorted in and told where we can go and not go.
And then,
So,
you know, that's the
you know.
point, it's restricted from us,
Yeah.
but fire knows no restriction if it gets there.
Yeah.
That's my point, that's.
And we've dealt with lots of fires. I have for the last 41 years.
Mhm.
And big ones and little ones and everything in between. And the wildlife refuge, we never have been called, other than they'll say, hey, would you be on standby? We're gonna be burned day, there's something goes squirreling. But the guys are pretty good, and a lot of local people are on that wildland group, so we have real good relationships with them, so.
So
As far as the wildland part of it, that's all managed by the federal, there's nothing police or the county, you think that's all federal. They would
So
not
what we're
police that.
saying is fire is really not gonna be a concern in any of this. The biggest concern is the water consumption. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, thanks.
Anybody else?
Okay, one time thing, maybe.
No, you've done had yours.
That was on the agenda. That was agenda, Eli.
You got
This is public,
15, you
Eli.
got 15 cents.
Yeah, he spoke for the next 5 people here, so.
Yeah. This is kind of humorous and it's also not kind of humorous, so I want us all to be real careful. I had no idea the danger I was in until he told me right now. So just let's not tell me to not worry about the data center by telling me about all the chemical spills that could be happening right now. That's raised my blood pressure a little
Well,
bit.
you're right, but realistically speaking, we have chemicals on railways, we have chemicals on trucks, and we have chemicals here. And we don't even have a permit yet
for a data center. Well, I would counter that by saying, I wish I had known that before 45 seconds ago.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You remember before they built the new shopping center, when that was just a bare lot? You remember all the semis? If
Yeah.
you would drove through there and looked at the skull and crossbones on them, you couldn't have got away quick enough. And that was right around, can you imagine, like he said?
Yeah, you don't need the numbers, you just need the pictures, man.
Unfortunately, I can't imagine. I'm very good at imagining things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all the abandoned, or all the
96
rail
feet
cars
a minute.
you set out there on the proving ground, there'll be hundreds and hundreds of rail cars out there. You know,
There is.
yeah,
There still
I
is.
don't know what's in it.
Yeah, not like there used to be though.
No.
Used to be a parking lot and now it's a railroad. And they
A
move.
lot of those,
They
we
move.
got questions about them, that they fell under federal guidelines, so there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because in all actuality, having a statute for this such a matter, you have to have the assets in place.
I could,
Yeah,
I could, it just wouldn't be legal.
Right.
Yeah, you did good, thank you.
Anyway, I had no idea that we're all gonna die any second, so that's all for me.
We'll look it out after.
Did I say something else?
Sure.
Bob might remember, I can remember a sign up proving ground and say, you get there and say, turn your cell phones off. I mean, I can remember that said, turn your cell phones off because of the explosive ordinance. You remember that?
Yes. The worst thing about the ordinance out there, some of it's probably inert after 45, but there could be one or two that's still just as pristine as it was the day it shot out of the shell. So that's the hiccup on that. Nobody knows. That's a, yes,
My father worked out there in the late forties and early fifties. And on the days that it rained, when they couldn't fire programs and test the rounds, they would go out and they would blow duds, or ones that didn't explode.
mhm.
And he said that one of them out there, they dug down 22 foot before they found the round and put a charge down there and blew it. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff. But then you go out there fishing in the creek and there would be a nose cone laying there and there'd be a crawdad backed up in the back end of it. Of course, backing up the back end of it wasn't gonna hurt anything. The nose cone on the end was what would ignite, you know?
Crawdad hurt you more than a nose cone. Yeah, pinch your finger.
Can I say something? What's
Yes.
coming up there? Okay, so we've got all this danger. We've got chemicals running up and down the river and running up and down the highway. So let's invite more danger. Right? I mean, that's what's absurd to me. Because those things put off heat islands too, like. They put up massive amounts of heat as well as noise and light. So, you know, don't we have uranium pretty close there? Do we need?
No, that's out in JPG area 46. I can tell you exactly where it's at.
It's pretty miles away. 5 or 10?
Whatever, that's up by the curve, so it's probably 15 mile.
Okay, so, I mean, that's just.
But you gotta remember, that can be going down in the water tables too. Thank you, the federal government, for that, but I'm just throwing it out
Add
there.
more to it.
I'm just throwing it out there. Let's call a spade a spade.
Okay, so.
But we survived and
Yes.
get up the next day.
But they have monitors on that, so we're okay.
It's not the best, right? So the federal government's pushing these data centers. So let's learn a little something from our history with the federal government. They don't always know what's best for us, obviously. Have we not learned anything?
No.
I mean, this is like a gold rush for these guys from Meta. I mean, it's a money grab. It's a money grab, and we're gonna get caught in the crossfires of it. So, I don't know, I would just urge you to do a moratorium. If you can, do you have the right to do a moratorium?
So the plan commission or the commissioners can call for a moratorium. The plan commission has to set up a public hearing. They have to go through that process. Then they will take a recommendation and submit it to the commissioners. And then we can approve it, we can disapprove it, we can change it.
Do we know who the planning commissioners are? I'm sure you do, but are they elected officials?
Negative.
Okay,
There are elected officials on the plan commission, but the plan commission is not elected.
Appointed.
and we can find who these people are online on the The
Sure, if you
website.
go to the website and look under
Planning
the,
Commission and the BZA.
Okay, and do they meet on a regular basis like you guys do?
when they have business, they meet. No, if no one, I mean, there's a scheduled meeting, but if they don't have business, they don't meet just for the.
It's a great place to go to ask about a moratorium, not you guys.
But once again, it go either place, but, yeah, we're.
Okay, well,
and we're-
that sounds a little different than what you just said.
I said initially, it can either start with the commissioners or the plan commission. That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
And then the plan commission will call for a public hearing. And then they'll have the public hearing and then they will make a recommendation.
So yes, you can do a moratorium.
We can ask them to do that if we.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I really wanted to know. And so we're gonna keep working on that.
We as in who?
Some concerned citizens that are, you know, really wanting to stop this before it before it's built and becomes a disaster. Okay, do you know how many?
No, so I'm just, you've already made the assumption it's a disaster. We don't even know what, no,
Go ahead.
we don't even know what this is gonna look like. And I think everyone assumes they don't have to do anything to meet any of our concerns. They can just plop a design down and we're gonna approve it and we're gonna move forward. That's not the process. We wouldn't, if it's gonna hurt our county, why would we just let it go forward? Well, but you won't even let us get there. Because up to you.
That you're gonna do.
Well, we're gonna have an engineering firm look over this. They're gonna, someone was asking, would they know the requirements? They will know this area. That's how we're gonna pick someone. They're not gonna,
Someone for this area.
well, I don't know who the engineering firm's gonna be. We don't know.
Somebody from Indianapolis isn't gonna care about what goes on there.
Well, I'll go.
They're more worried about what goes on
All
there.
right, you ready?
Yes.
Just adjourn and we get out of here, cause we're not getting anywhere here. Well, you had your opportunity.
Sure. I've been waiting for everyone else to go. You should be waiting. Thank you. Are they still?
I don't actually really want to be here, but I thank you for letting me speak at this late hour. My name is Marty Lice. I live at 4510 South 850 West, out in Saluda. I moved here about 4 years ago, and my kid, he just graduated high school, plays saxophone. My husband, he's a disabled vet. So that's me. I have 2 master's degree, one in World War II studies. So that's a little bit about me, since I know you don't know me. I'm not in favor of the data center because of the environmental impacts. Close to it, far and wide. Also, the economic promises of many of these companies aren't really coming to fruition. I read, and everything that I'm reading about hyperscale AI data centers, it's not great. And so I'm here to just please encourage you to consider the multi-generational impacts of what's going to happen. I'm really happy to be in Jefferson County, and I hope that we all stay here, but with something of that scale, and especially something this new, I don't really need us to get caught up in a lot of what other people talked about, the Saluda nuclear reactors. I mean, we don't need this for our community. We don't need AI, really. And we don't need the sound, the light pollution, the effects on migratory birds, the cute little salamanders, I'm more concerned about that than I could be with any economic promise from one of these corporations. Everything that I can read online about AI data centers is pretty bad. And I would welcome you to find me something that's good about them. So,
If you
thank
leave me
you
your email address, I will be more than happy to send you good stuff about data centers.
Okay, ready? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Jeff.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.